it's made with snaps.
I'm still
It's made with snaps.
I can't wait to watch video.
No, they haven't seen each other's acts.
So I wanted to see the video, so. One more time.
So how'd you get started in burlesque?
2019, some things were going on in my life that I was like, I need to do some more things for myself. And I wanted to do burlesque for like 10 years, and just never did. And then finally I was like, I found Annie through a mutual friend, and so I'm just gonna go and just have fun and just get to know myself again. And then after a few months I was like, I really need to do this in front of other people, really bad. So yeah,
You're really good.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Yeah, it was kind of like an awakening when I finally made the move. That first class was just like the beginning of the rest of my life. Like it just was very transformational. So yeah, just took the.
So she explained to us, and I'm so glad that she did. I didn't know about burlesque and why was it different than other creative dancing. She explained the part about telling a story. So how did you come up with your story?
It started out, it's gone through a lot of iterations actually. It started out as kind of Emerald City After Dark. That's kind of like, I wanted to be like the Wicked Witch of the West. If, you know, just she took a different life path. Yeah, so it kind of transformed into just, as working with Annie, coming up with like, what are the adjectives, what are the words that this person, that this like witchy boss bitch, who is she? And then just coming up with choreography that matched those adjectives. They're not all like that, not all choreography is like that, or full stories are like that, but this one was definitely an evolution even up through Friday.
But that's how like I love to work. I love to just let's figure it out as we go, because this is like how I like to coach. I don't usually start with music, and a lot of burlesque performers have the song, and it's like the song is everything, and that kind of dictates what the story's gonna be. Like they're kind of acting out what the lyrics are saying. That's not wrong. It's just not my go-to. I usually encourage movement first.
How'd you get your tassels going in the same direction?
So Annie definitely helped me, but it's actually anybody can do it. It doesn't matter what.
I taught her.
It doesn't matter what size you are. It's all in your movements and how you bend. Do they just kind of start going that way?
I'm like, it's so much harder than it looks like.
It's a lot of cardio. I'm very out of breath at the end. I've never been able to get my tassels twirling like that.
Really?
It's always by accident, and I'm like, I did it, and then I can't replicate it. That's why I'm just like in awe. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
it's like a very 1940s, 50s thing, and I feel like it's starting to get lost, and that's sad. Like that tassels are like very unique to burlesque. It's never done anywhere else, so it's very a signature move. So I want to like. I'm a muse. I want to remind people, like, this is where we come from. This is what it was to be a lady, and you can be a lady and still take your clothes off. And
That like the motivation or whatever behind y'all's stage name.
I mean, I've been keeping a list of all these names since April. And I'm a Pisces. I like mermaids. I'm into water. I wanted like something that meant water. And I'm half Italian, so Cascata means waterfall in Italian.
Oh, cool.
And Nick actually, on our anniversary, wrote me a beautiful poem. I'm not supposed to brag now. And the main character is a mermaid who wants to be a burlesque dancer. Her name is Lyla, so that helped me. He was my inspiration for that.
See,
And
when
he's
you're
been
a
huge
muse,
supporter for me.
when you're an actual muse, you just let that people around you create because you inspire them.
Right.
So yeah, just let Nick figure it out since you're the muse. You know.
Jayne with a Y. Jayne. Like the fake name that I would use. Be like, I'm Jayne, but it's with a Y because I'm different. So Jayne just stuck with me, and then like I had mentioned, in my mid-20s is about when I wanted to start getting into burlesque, and I had a different haircut then. It was like straight bangs, straight across, and I was like, little bangs. Like I kind of like how that sounds because there's so many different meanings. So to me, Jayne Bangs just was like it. There's a lot more to this than I ever realized when I started. Yeah, a lot more. Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize that if they don't have a mentor. Like as Amy said, there's a lot of girls who just pick a name and get up on stage and take their clothes off. And you can tell, like when that happens versus somebody who's like really training and put their heart and soul into developing a character and developing a storyline and like making sure their costumes look good, and they just bought some Victoria's Secret stuff and went on stage. Preach. I've never got anybody.
She's
to
one of mine,
watch.
you can
Yeah,
tell.
I've never got any. I'm not a trained dancer. You don't have to be.
You don't believe that? She's not a trained dancer.
I thought you did ballet.
Yes,
So
I
that
I
is
never
the
really
first
I
act.
did, but I was a baton twirler in high school. I feel like there was performance in my bones, but I was always too scared to. Like I took like musical theater once, and that was fun, but I didn't really do anything with it.
Well, with that being said, is that easier for like Annie, for you to be able to instruct them? Does a dance background hinder this type, or obviously it can be incorporated?
Oh, no, I don't, no, that's not a requirement at all. I like to see how you're gonna naturally move, like, cause you wanna kind of find your own style, especially with burlesque. Yeah, you don't have to be a trained dancer at all, no.
Yeah, this is totally different than any other form of dance. Like you take a dance class, like a ballet class, and you show up and the teacher's like, here's your song, here's your choreography, here's your costume, pay for it. And you're like, okay, and you just do that. Whereas here, you think for yourself, you have to decide everything. Like, what's your story gonna be? What kind of movement do you wanna do? What's your inspiration?
Truly, this was just art at its finest. Very classy.
Thank
I really, really enjoyed it.
When I'm teaching burlesque, I always say like burlesque is like a heightened sense of being alive because you're using all your senses and you know, every day, day to day, we're always on our phones, we don't give people eye contact, so like burlesque is like the total extreme opposite of that where we wanna connect with the viewer and, you know, have our skin like tingle when we're tracing and like and create noise when we're dancing, like all the senses are heightened, and that's why I love burlesque, because it's like you are really living life in that short play that you're putting on.
Well, burlesque is a 3D world. Most people are living in a 2D world.
This has been, for me, like a very healing journey. So, I mean, burlesque has definitely helped me come out of my shell and like get rid of some old wounds that I've been dealing with. And it's just like, I mean, Annie told me this. She was like, you just come to a point, you don't give a shit about this anymore. And you're like, I can't even fathom it. But now I'm like, yeah.
Good
Yep.
for you.
If it jiggles, it jiggles. If I got a bruise, I got a bruise. I don't care. Did you notice? Nope.
Well, I think that's a wrap, y'all. Unless anybody else has any more questions or comments.
It was beautiful.
Yeah,
It was
very
beautiful. February 10th, they'll be performing here again, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So y'all come back for that, and you guys will be performing pole,
Yeah.
right?
Yay.
My polars. Jennifer,
What?
come if you want.
What advice would you give to someone who's never performed and is nervous to get up and take up space? And
Oh, you know, I was super nervous upstairs. You don't notice it when you come out, your adrenaline hits you. And when the crowd, when y'all started, were like, woo, I was like, yeah. That got me going. I was like, yeah. You will not notice the nerves, it goes away pretty quickly. It's just like you are having a good time. As long as you're having a good time, and if something goes wrong, it goes wrong and nobody else will notice it anyway. Yeah. That's the truth. Nobody knows your choreography like you do. And being afraid to take up space is a thing we have in our heads as women. You take up all the space.
Yeah.
This is your moment. Enjoy it. That's what they're here for. They want to see it. Take up all the space. You're doing something
Right.
more than what all they're thinking is like, damn, I wish I could do that.
Yes,
That's
true.
awesome.
100%.
Well, it's like I
She
say,
told me that the other night. She was
Yeah.
like, they just wish they had the balls to get up there and do it. I'm
Well,
like,
there's
you know
that.
what? You're right. That makes me feel better.
like my college professor would always say, why go here when you can go here? I was a dance major, right? And I'm like, oh, it's so stupid. But now I repeat what she says, because it's like, if you're the burlesque performer and you're not gonna go full out, and if you're not gonna use all this intention, then who is? Same thing with pole. It's like, again, no one else is getting up there and doing it. Like you're the pole dancer, so it's like, yeah, give yourself permission.
Entertain.
Yeah.
Right? Be you. Be you.
Let the nerves feel you. Don't let them hold you back.
Yeah, you can always throw up upstairs if you want.
Yeah. For sure. Or afterward. Like, yeah. Like,